I'm Mel Stewart, and this is the Gold Medal Minute Takeover, the SwimSwam Podcast. Joining me is Coleman Hodges, the man on deck, SwimSwam's head of production. And today we have a very special guest. He's buff, he's swole, he's a Speedo athlete, and he's a three-time Olympic champion, Ryan Murphy.
What's up, everybody?
Looking for the latest swim technology from the fastest brands? Find the right suit for you with Swim Outlet's 2020 Tech Suit Review. Available now at swimoutlet.com/blog.
How are you guys doing?
I'm not doing well.
Yeah.
Coleman, I don't know. How are you doing, Coleman?
Doing all right. Doing all right.
Yeah, we're getting a little bit. I would like life more if we could have a swim meet somewhere on U.S. soil, but until it's safe, that's up for debate. That's where we're at. How are you feeling, buddy?
I'm good. It's my birthday today. So
what? Whoa! I'm so sorry. I didn't know that.
This is great. This is the first actual conversation I've had on my birthday. So consider yourselves a little bit lucky here. And it's not too bad. You guys are cool enough guys to out with on my birthday.
So here's the question. So what's your Instagram handle? What's your Facebook? Where can people go say happy birthday, Ryan?
So my Instagram, I think my Instagram and Twitter are the same. It's not the best handle. It's Ryan_F_Murphy.
Terrible.
Yeah, there's a lot of Ryan Murphys out there, so the options were a little bit limited. But I'm hoping. I mean, if I roll and we kind of crush it over these next couple of years, I'm hoping that someone gives up their better username and I could take that one over.
I'm going to your Instagram right now to say happy birthday.
I'm a little ticked off that when I Google Ryan Murphy, you're not the first person who comes up. There's a Ryan Murphy Hollywood, and I don't like that Ryan Murphy.
It's because he doesn't like you as much as I like you. Because when I put Ryan Murphy into my phone, you come right up. You're first.
That's right. Yeah, it might be a glitch on your computer, Coleman.
I've got to install the swimmer settings on my computer.
Yeah. But seriously, there's a Ryan Murphy in every single sports league. And then one of the top directors / writers in Hollywood is Ryan Murphy. So I definitely get bumped to the latter couple pages on the Google search.
I've taken a meeting with the Hollywood Ryan Murphy. I took it with him while American Beauty was in the can and hadn't come out yet, hadn't won all the Academy Awards. That's what blew his career up, and that's why when you go to Google, you're seeing that Ryan Murphy.
Yeah.
Because he started cranking out hits. It wasn't all these shows on Netflix. He got his Academy Awards early in life. But anyway, I just want to tell you, I met the guy, not as cool as you.
Yeah. It was kind of a bummer. So he signed a $300 million deal with Netflix. So my Twitter mentions were going insane. They're like, Ryan Murphy signs $300 million deal. I'm sitting on the other end. I'm like, I'm rich. That career, I'm done, and it wasn't me. So yeah, it's definitely a bummer when I get those types of hits on Twitter.
Well, let's talk about some things that some people say, hey, you guys get into. You start getting off topic toward the end of the podcast, and that's when you start talking about the fun stuff. So your business admin at Cal. Have you graduated yet? You're done.
I graduated. Graduated December of 2017. So
never mind. Sorry.
Yeah. I mean, essentially, I would have graduated on time, but in the Olympic year, I kind of just I didn't do any classes towards my major, just because I was realistically, swimming is priority number one that semester, so I don't want to ruin my GPA or my major GPA with taking the hard classes. So I took some easier classes that semester. And then I just had 6 units, I guess the fall of 2017 semester.
You're not one of these Olympic champions that lets their undergraduate go year after year while they're taking one class at a time. Yes, we've always known you're a pretty responsible guy. You're into business. You're this is a part of your life that you love. It interests you. And I would say this in our interactions. it's very clear that you are savvier than your average Olympian when it comes to what's going on. And it's a very interesting part of our world.
That's a compliment to me or a dig to everyone else.
It's a dig to everyone else. Just throw them under the bus.
Yeah.
You're my favorite Olympian.
There we go. There we go. Happy birthday to me.
But yesterday we talked to Lenny Krayzelburg. He was our favorite Olympian yesterday. Today, you're our favorite Olympian. This week, it's all about backstrokers. And on so I just wanted to throw that out there. Yeah, you are. You're not just this guy who wins gold medals, but you're pretty savvy behind the scenes. I do have to bring this up since we're talking about Krayzelburg. Krayzelburg did build a cool business post Olympics, and Krayzelburg, I would have to say, you're buff. I started off with this thing with your buff, man. Your shoulders have gotten thick and rounded as you've gotten older. But you know what? Lenny Krayzelburg's buffer. There's a little bit more you could go there.
I mean, definitely. And I don't think I'm going to try to compete with Lenny on that front until I'm done swimming. But I will say, Lenny, I mean, you throw a sport jacket on Lenny and I'm like, man, that guy's a specimen. I remember the first time I saw him, I'm like, dude, what size suit are you wearing there? And he's like 44 long. And I was like, you know what? Like I'm a 46. So I still got him there.
He wears a 44 long, but it looks like he's wearing the like a sport coat for a 10-year-old. Like it looks like a 10-year-old sport coat on his body.
Form fitting for sure.
Is there like a backstroke party or like a summit where it's like it's you, it's Peirsol, it's Krayzelburg, and you guys just go and you pour a single malt scotch and you're like, yes, we're great. Do you guys do that? I'm just curious.
I gotta say, the backstrokers are a pretty fun crowd, and I don't think we've ever all gotten together. But I mean, Lenny, and I'm not even talking about like drinking, non-drinking, like whatever, they're just fun guys in general. And so, I mean, Lenny's a super fun guy. I hung out with him a lot through ISL this past year. Obviously, I've hung out with Grevers a lot, Clary a good bunch, Lochte, Peirsol. I mean, Peirsol I probably have hung out with the least. But I would actually say during quarantine, I've probably talked to Aaron the most out of that group. So, I mean, super, super fun guys, super unique, a little bit weird, but it's definitely a cool crew to be a part of.
Do you when you hang with Peirsol, you're just like, man, you put on your rocket suit, your flotation device, your rubberized wetsuit, you drop that world record, and then you left. It's like, do you give him a little bit of hard time?
Hey, you play by the rules that are dealt to you, and Aaron. I mean, Aaron mastered that, and that's not to discredit anything Aaron's done. I mean, the dude was absolutely ridiculous for essentially a decade, like a decade of dominance from that guy. And so, I mean, I've got the utmost of respect for Aaron. I mean, it kind of sucks that he pushed that 200 back world record so far, but he awesome dude, and he deserved and deserves everything that comes his way.
Who's the coolest backstroker? I mean, we got John Naber, we got Dave Berkoff, we got Jeff Rouse, you, Peirsol, Lenny Krayzelburg, Ryan. In my book, I'm Ryan Murphy, coolest backstroker.
God, Mel, you're kind of just a hype man here. I love it. I'm feeling good. You're making me feel good today. That's a good question. And I can't say I know the 70s, 80s, 90s guys super well. Like I've met Naber. I did an appearance on Speedo's behalf and talked to Naber for a long time down in LA a little while back. He's a super cool guy. I think Lenny and I are probably the most similar. Like if I'm looking at which backstroker I would compare myself to, it's probably Lenny in terms of like a personality standpoint. Aaron Peirsol, I mean, the guy's just different, like he's kind of a philosopher, thinks in a totally different way than most people I've ever talked to. So I always enjoy my conversations with him. But yeah, I mean, it's hard to say. I think it's safe to say there's not a weird guy in the bunch, so it's hard for me to call out like who's the coolest dude in that group.
Berkoff's weird.
Is he weird? All right.
Berkoff's weird. We're going to call him out. He was my teammate. Dude's weird.
Yeah.
I'm telling you. Super smart. He's an attorney. He lives in Montana. He goes fishing and hunting. I think he's fishing is his thing.
Okay.
But yeah, he's done a lot for swimming. Where did I want to go with this? There's a really important point. It's a burning question that everyone's like is like not thinking about.
Mm-hmm.
And but when it comes to backstroke, I think that it's a very unique situation. I swam backstroke and I was a prep school champion in backstroke,
Mm-hmm.
and I loved it. But it wasn't backstroke. I couldn't master it. It was butterfly on your back. I was trying to get into this with Lenny. You do have these thick shoulders, and I always thought the backstroke was more core and driving with your legs, which it is. But like, what is he was talking about his pull and how far out it was and how strong it was. What is the secret sauce to your backstroke so that we can just tell everybody before the 2021 Olympic Games? Let's give it away.
So for my backstroke,
Yeah,
I definitely think the shoulders are an asset there. And I guess the way that I would say it is it's just like I'm trying to think of like the right term or like the right analogy, but essentially like this is my like lever. I don't know if that's the right word, but it's like I could get here and just like that's a lot of distance. And then like the longer distance this is, if I could actually get this over to the other side, that just turns into more power,
And for people that are listening and not watching, it's just like he's basically his back is a board and he can rotate, 90 degrees, almost 90 degrees, pretty close, and that's more reach. And
exactly.
You've got that. Is it kind of like freestyle going over the barrel? Like, people started to do a lot of bent arm stuff, but it seems like you're going way back.
So I guess freestyle over the barrel. So you're talking about that.
Yeah, these guys, freestyle changed. We went over the barrel, but your backstroke seems.
The way I think of it is it's just like I come up with like these very simplistic analogies, and I think that's from doing some of these swim clinics with younger kids. But it's like if you're going to do an arm wrestle, like you're not going to do an arm wrestle with a straight arm. You're going to do it with more of like a bent arm. Probably not less than 90 degrees. That's not powerful. A little bit greater than 90 degrees, and that's where you're going to pull from. I think a backstroke is kind of the same. Like what is a powerful position to rip the arm through, and like that's kind of like that's the way I think of it. So yeah, that's my philosophy on the catch.
Krayzelburg was saying he was way out, less bent arm, but he also, after his big moment at the 2000 Olympics. He had to go have shoulder surgery, a few shoulder surgeries.
Yeah.
So, and then he brought his elbow in later in his career so he could actually do backstroke and, still compete. So interesting insight. It's
and I think, I was sent a video of Lenny probably like 2 or 3 weeks ago. Lenny had just an insane catch, and I don't think Lenny thought of like his forearm to hand as like a single lever. Because I think he kind of collapsed the wrist a little bit to get that initial catch. So just doing it there, like I could feel a little bit of pressure on my shoulder. So yeah, it was definitely fast. But yeah,
it's not 51.8 fast.
Yeah, he had a little bit of a technology disadvantage there. Who knows? This is I think it's Mark Spitz that says it all the time. If he had the technology we have, he'd be beating us. So.
I don't know. I just we were so slow when I was swimming, and like to go at fifth. What is it? How would you describe to somebody who swims backstroke? Maybe they're going, they're a high school swimmer, or they're going to maybe swim. They're not going to swim D1, but they'll swim D1 mid-major or D3. How do you explain to them what it feels like to go a 51.8 100-meter backstroke? It's just insane.
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, it's not very easy to describe, Mel. And I was a business major. I wasn't I'm not a wordsmith here.
You're not a poet. Be a poet.
Yeah. So I guess the best way to describe it is like, I have to use a comparison. So like when I'm swimming freestyle, it's not like I'm not like a bad freestyler, but like, no matter what, if I'm going pace freestyle, like, and I'm talking long course, short course is just kind of like, it's too short to really like know, but long course, like if I'm dialed in, I could hit, like pace -1, pace -1.5, like, and it's always hard. If I'm dialed in on backstroke, like I could go pace -2 sometimes, and it's easy. And it's just like, it flows from one stroke to the next. Like it doesn't feel like there's any sort of like hitch anywhere. It's just kind of like boom, boom, boom on top of the water. And yeah, so it's weird. Like it's just weird for me in backstroke. Like when I feel it, I just can go, and it doesn't hurt.
That's what you tell kids in clinics? Just hit it backstroke and it goes.
Yeah, I don't say that. I use the arm wrestle analogy, and if they want to talk about the feeling, I could talk about the feeling. But
you're also in the water. You're demonstrating. You're giving them. People are visual learners. They learn by seeing the greats do it. And I'm just giving you a tough time.
Yeah. I know that's definitely a weakness of mine, describing the feeling of my best backstroke.
Yeah, but I mean, it's just so out there, iconic. It's mind blowing to us all. It's the reason why we tune in and watch you. When I think of you, my wife was just in here, and I was like, "Do you remember seeing him when we were at the SwimSwam? We have a bar at Olympic Trials, and we have it say, not that you came to a bar, you were with your parents and you came during the lunch hour." But but we're like, we're out there on the deck, we're putting up all our signage, and you come by with your family. And I remember seeing you were a kid, and you were really on the bubble back in 12. Yeah. What did you get? You got 4th and 6th, 4th in the 2, 6th in the 100.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And where was your head at? I know that had to be, you wanted to make the team. How did you feel coming off the trials in 12?
Oh, I mean, it was. I think that year was the first year where I was like, man, like I'm going after this, and that was the first year I learned like what true commitment to the sport looks like. So I would say in September or October of that year, Sergio Lopez, my coach in high school, sat me down, and he was like, "Ryan, like I want you to approach this year as if you've got a shot at making the Olympic team, because I think you have a shot at making the Olympic team." And I'm sitting there on the other end, like at that point I just turned 16. I was like, yeah, I mean, like, sure, Sergio, like these are cool words, but like in my head, I don't believe that. And he's like, I don't care what you believe. Like that's part of it. Like we've got to work on your confidence this year, build that up. And he kind of took me through the plan of that season. Like, all right, this is how we're going to do it. This is how we're going to build into the season, like really work the legs, work the pole, put it all together. And so I was like, all right, like as I went through the season, I busted my butt, worked super hard. I could feel the progression every week in practice. So I went into the Olympics, and my confidence was still like, I was a 16-year-old. Like my confidence was not high.
Olympic trials, just to put it out there so people know what we're talking about. You went 53.9 in the 53.92 in the 100. You got 6, 157.39 in the 200. Legit. Did you have your driver's license yet?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. You get your driver's license at like right when you turn 16 in Florida. So I went in and I was like, all right, like my time going in was a 55 mid in the 100 back. And I was like, all right, like this is gonna be solid. I do prelims, like make it back to semis. I was like, I think I was like right next to Thoman in the first semifinal. I get second. I was faster in the semi than I was in the final on 53.7. And then the final, I was like, you know what, like I've already gone the time I wanted to go here. So I might as well just like really gun this first 50, see what happens. So I went out so hard at finals and kind of ate it. But I was like, whatever. Like that was a win of a race. The 200 was my better event for sure. But going into that, I was like, I need some help here. Like I need Lochte to mess up. I need Clary to mess up. Maybe I get in at that point. And that was my goal. It's like put enough pressure on them to where they feel me, like they know I'm there. And they did, like I went through the semi, and like I went and I saved up and went 157.3 in the semi. Before the final, I freaked out. Like I was so nervous that entire day. And the reason I know that they felt me a little bit is Lochte. Lochte started talking to me, and like Lochte likes to play the head games a little bit. So he comes up to me. He's like, yeah, man, like I've got a triple tonight. So like, I don't know how this is going to be. The 200 back's the first one, but I'm looking ahead to the other two. And I'm like, all right, dude, like, you're going to be fine. You know, like you're a gold medalist and a former world record holder, or maybe the world record holder. No, it was former world record holder in that event. So he started doing that. And then that just kind of put me down. You know, like I was like, I'm done. After that, it didn't take much for Lochte to get in my head before that final.
That's awesome. Well, I don't want to stay too much in the young years when you're a kid, because I want to bridge it forward, but we have to ask the question about Bolles. Who's more fun to hang out with, Caeleb Dressel or Joseph Schooling?
Oh God.
That's a storied team. It's a storied team of greats.
Unbelievable. Actually an unbelievable team.
This is the most important question of our podcast. Really.
Yeah,
it's a storied team. You guys were all great. Yeah. Who's more fun to hang out with?
Yeah, no, I think it's tough because I think, Joseph and I are more similar in terms of like our interests, the way we think. I think Joseph was also a business major at Texas. And we trained together every day. Caeleb didn't go to Bolles, so he was in a different group. So I knew Joseph better. In high school, I hung out with Joseph more. Now, I probably see them equally in like awesome dudes, just totally different. Like Joseph is like so fiery. And I love that. Like I kind of love the challenge of like poking Joseph a little bit to get him riled up and then have those like pretty intense conversations. Where Caeleb's just very fun, you know, like he's I think of him still as like a teenage kid, you know, like Caeleb is always down to have a good time, do something random. And he's just like, he lives in the moment, super funny. So it's hard to say because they're so different. Like both of those guys are guys that are going to be friends for life for me. And that's how I view both of them.
Yeah, you answered that diplomatically. And we should say this about Schooling. I think he wants to be a hedge fund manager when this is all done.
Well, he's got the connections out in Singapore. I'll tell you, man.
Have you hung with him in Singapore?
I haven't. I hung out with his parents in Singapore. So I got the country club tour. It's not bad. Not a bad life. No, but it's not diplomatic because like I do think like in high school I was closer to Joseph just by nature of being around Joseph all the time. And now like Joseph is still an awesome friend, but Caeleb's moved into that awesome friend category as well.
Nice. All right, we're down to 8 minutes, and so we now have to ask you some real questions.
Do it.
This has been a tough period of time during the shutdown, and it's a lot of folks have been out of the water. Have you been able to make any gains? Do you think you've been able to make any gains not being in the pool during that period of not being in the pool?
Yeah, that's definitely a fair question. Yeah, definitely. Like I think the biggest thing is like a lot of people have said they've been down with the quarantine and everything, and it's like for me, like I'm feeling so happy, and like I'm always a guy. I'm always pretty happy. Like I've never struggled with mental health. Like I've never really gotten low ever, and so like I'm incredibly fortunate from that perspective. But swimming is a kind of a lonely pursuit after college. Like I'm still training with college guys, and it's like I'm continuing to get older. They're staying the same age, which is interesting. And so like the joy I have going to practice and interacting with the guys is a little bit less than it was in college. Now I live with 5 people in my house, so it feels like college again in my house because everyone's at home. Everyone's everyone has jobs, like they're working, but everyone's at home. And so like I've honestly loved this time to really like hang out with my friends a bunch. And in terms of like the physical gains, totally. I think my kicking is great right now. So that's kind of what I've been focusing on.
Gotcha. Coleman, I've been hogging him to myself the whole time. Do you have a burning question as good as my Bolles question?
Yeah. On Tuesday, you were part of an Amazon Live broadcast, and you played Cornhole with Pau Gasol. And I tried to track down the video, and I couldn't. But can you tell us about how this came to be and ultimately what the conclusion of that epic match was?
Yeah, and why don't you send us the link? Send us a link. That's what the real question is.
Honestly, I got to get the link from them, and I'm not sidestepping the question because I did get beat, but I've got an explanation as to why. So Amazon sent. First they reached out and they're like, "Can you do this event? It's going towards UNICEF, or raising money for UNICEF COVID relief." And this has been in the works for a while. So like I was like, yeah, sure, but I don't have a cornhole set. So they sent me a cornhole set, literally like 1 foot by 2 feet, like the smallest cornhole set I've ever seen.
Like Jeff Bezos can't afford to send you a real cornhole set.
Honestly, I'm gonna grab this thing. I'll be back in 2 seconds.
For everyone listening, Murphy's off camera and he's going to go get the cornhole set courtesy of Amazon and the richest man on the planet, Jeff Bezos, to show us. Oh my God, that's tiny.
Dude, all right. So we're doing this cornhole thing, and look at the size of this. I mean,
my gosh.
It's the saddest cornhole set I've ever seen.
Exactly. It's like going to blow in the wind right now. So they're like, yeah, we sent you and Pau Gasol the same cornhole set. Oh, great. Because the cornhole set is very, very tough. And so we're on the call beforehand, and Pau's like, all right, like how far apart are we, or how far do we set this up? And they're like 15 feet. And I think that's because this is so small. Like you can't really hit it farther than that. Mm-hmm. And he was like, oh, I thought we were going 27 feet. And so in my head, I was like, that was the first thing where I'm like, this guy's got a different cornhole set than I've got here. And because I'm not even touching this board from 27 feet. And so we get on the broadcast and I look at he has a regular cornhole set. It's like 4 times the size of mine. So I got crushed.
I call BS, man. It's not cool. You need to get an intro to Jeff Bezos and air your concerns.
Well, plus, his arms are longer than yours.
I was making all those jokes, but I think it was fun. Like the banter was really, really solid for the whole time. Like there was one point where I was in the lead. So I started making jokes about how much better Dirk would be at cornhole than Pau Gasol. And sorry for all the basketball, or not the non-basketball nerds. Dirk Nowitzki, he's another European, another stretch 4. So I was like, that's got to be Pau's nemesis. But it was fun. It was cool to be able to do that. Pau was an awesome guy. Rigged the game a little bit, but it's cool. Like he lives in Silicon Valley, so like he hit me up after. He was like, dude, like ever want to come over? I'll give you 3-point lessons and cornhole lessons. I'm down in South Bay, so I might go hit him up. I might go try to hang out with Pau a little bit here.
All right, we're down to 3 minutes. Let's bring it back to the here and the now. You got to be kind of brief. Just give us a little say, hey, this is where you're at training wise, and this is what you're going to try and accomplish really in the next 3 to 4 months.
Training wise, we're still waiting on Cal to open up here, so we're kind of bopping around to some different pools. So for me, it's trying to stay flexible, really work when I've got the opportunity to work. And just recognize, I've got a little bit less than a year at this point. So, the intensity is definitely starting to raise for me. And I'm excited for that. Like I'm hoping to put down some really, really solid performances in this next year. And this is kind of the foundational part of that.
In terms of like bouncing around, is it, how do you stay flexible? How do you stay flexible here in your head when it's not an ideal training situation? What do you do to try to make the something that is abnormal normal?
Good question. Yeah, I think it's literally just recognizing. It's like I know what my schedule looks like through Saturday, and and then when we get to Sunday, we'll get a schedule for the next week, and that's the challenge. It's just like, okay, like. We don't know what next week looks like, and I don't think anyone knows what next week looks like. So it's cool. Like it's cool to have that challenge, that mental challenge, and make it a internal challenge to stay focused, to continue to work hard and to continue to improve.
All right, buddy. Well, you know what? We're almost out of time, and it's like we need like 5 episodes to really dive into Ryan Murphy. We could just talk about your shoulders for 30 minutes. But anyway, will you come back on?
Schedule part 2. I'll be on here.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Good talking to you.
Yeah, good talking to you guys. Later.
See ya.